Hey book and wine lovers, we have the best, all caps best news for you. Volume 2 of Bookish Wine is officially available to order, and we have a special offer to share with you. Use our new code NARRATIVES30 for $30 off Volume 2 at bookishwine.com. If you're new to Bookish Wine, it's a quarterly subscription club, or one-time boxes are available too, bringing a special edition romantasy book and artisan-crafted bottle of wine right to your door. Here's what you can expect with a Volume 2 box. A special edition of Bound by Hearts and Stone by Lauren Sinatra, completely exclusive to Bookish Wine members. We're talking hardcover with sprayed edges, foiled details, character art, and more. Then you'll escape into the world with the boutique wine pairing, crafted to reflect the story's themes, characters, and mood. Plus, we know the artist design label will be gorgeous and complement the book. Now, here's another thing that's totally unique about Volume 2. You'll receive a free audiobook code. That's right, you'll be able to listen with your ear holes, read with your eyeballs, or both. Head to bookishwine.com and use code NARRATIVES30 by March 15th, 2026 for $30 off, and upgrade your reading nights with this immersive, unique bookish experience. Must be 21 or older. Please sip and savor responsibly.
Narratives and discussions may cover heavy content. For more information and disclaimers, please visit narrativesandnightcaps.com and take care while listening.
Welcome to Narratives and Nightcaps, books, beverages, and author conversations. I'm Bree, always ready to dive into new fantasy worlds and take a step back in time.
I'm Megan, part critic, always team physical copy, and forever chasing good thrillers and a great plot twist.
I'm Emily, your resident mood reader who thrives on chaos questions and lively book chats.
And I'm Jordan, equal parts heart, humor, and high-functioning caffeine addict. I come with coffee in hand, wine on standby, and a Gilmore Girls quote for every occasion.
Cheers!
Cheers! Oh, hello, my friends! Oh
Hi
my
guys.
goodness.
How's it going?
It is so good. Twice in 1 week, I get to see all of your beautiful faces for recording, and I'm just so pleased. And also super intrigued to get into this conversation about this book, because I feel like it's going to be a really interesting conversation.
Here's what we need to talk about just right off the top. So when we decided on this book months ago, this series, we said we're going to be doing Red Rising. I remember initially almost trying to convince Megan in a way that she should, that this is the general direction we should go. And here we are today.
And I've blown past you guys.
Well, we're going to dive into it. I want to hear all the thoughts, all the opinions, all the feelings. Listener, as you heard Bree say, we're covering Red Rising by Pierce Brown. It is our first series of 2026, if you can believe it. Emily, tell us a little bit about the pairing for this one, though, before we get into the synopsis and our thoughts.
Of course. So for Red Rising, this is, ultimately a book and a series on war. We'll dive into like all of that and space dystopia and all of that. So this needed something stronger than wine. I love a good glass of wine, but this called for something with a little more punch. So I've got an old fashioned for us today that I thought would be a great pairing for book one for a couple of reasons. So first of all, an old fashioned is just one of the most like traditional elite cocktails. I don't know about you, but I think like many leather bound books and rich mahogany when I am enjoying an old fashioned, which very much lends itself to the golds and gold society and just kind of where they come from. The bourbon in an old fashioned, right, is strong, burning, uncompromising. It's bourbon, right? Whiskey, which very much mirrors Darrow in this. And just not only his like character, his transformation, but he is very strong and uncompromising in certain parts as we get through the book. For the sugar in this, typically an old fashioned goes with like a sugar cube, right? Or a little bit of sugar that you put at the bottom. But in this particular old fashioned, I used brown sugar. which
Oh,
we
I
should say
love
like
brown sugar.
red sugar, closer to red than like white sugar, right? To mirror that, he comes from the reds. We have bitters, which is included in this, which is very much, I think, reminiscent of some of the pain, the sacrifice, the rage. I mean, it's in the title. It's bitters. There's a lot of bitterness on many levels in this book for several characters.
There you go.
And then finally, I don't know if you can see in the video since we are showing this full video, but I have an orange, I can't even tip the camera really. I have an orange slice on the top. Let me see, I'm just gonna stick my fingers. I do have an orange slice or a gold orange slice, if you will, on top. And 2 red sugar cherries at the bottom. Gold on top, red underneath.
Cheers. That is fantastic. So Mark is like a super whiskey snob, as I think I've talked to all of you about before. The concept of the brown sugar, I'm digging. Yeah, no, it really is. I want to say he's made me an old fashioned with the brown sugar before, and it's very good.
I would make that switch. I enjoy. I also did orange bitters, gold bitters.
Yeah, he uses orange bitters too.
Which, right, is another so a little more bite for this book that we'll get into.
That was
Emily,
a great.
I've got to say, I kind of like that you didn't put the pairing on here so that we can all be like surprised.
Yeah. So listener, Emily surprised us with, because normally we have like a shared document, a shared notes, and she puts like her details of her pairing that she's going to bring. And I was curious. I was like, oh, I don't see anything in there. I'm sure she's got it though. And of course, as usual, you are.
I've got a lot of surprises this episode, I guess, up my sleeve. I'm glad that you all think that was super planned and well thought out and not me just having an utterly chaotic day. But it worked.
It is what it is. Well, shall I get into the summary, ladies, courtesy of Goodreads, and then we can dive in? Okay. Thank you, Goodreads. Here is Red Rising by Pierce Brown. Darrow is a red, a member of the lowest caste in the color-coded society of the future. Like his fellow Reds, he works all day, believing that he and his people are making the surface of Mars livable for the future generations. Yet he toils willingly, trusting that his blood and sweat will one day result in a better world for his children. But Darrow and his kind have been betrayed. Soon he discovers humanity reached the surface generations ago. Vast cities and lush wilds spread across the planet. Darrow, and other Reds like him, are nothing more than slaves to a decadent ruling class. Inspired by a longing for justice and driven by the memory of lost love, Darrow sacrifices everything to infiltrate the legendary Institute, a proving ground for the dominant gold caste, where the next generation of humanity's overlords struggle for power. He will be forced to compete for his life and the very future of civilization against the best and most brutal of society's ruling class. There, he will stop at nothing to bring down his enemies, even if it means he has to become one of them to do so. And that is Red Rising for you. So, yes, ma'am, we've got hands raised. Let's go.
Okay, so right off the bat, we definitely are not on the same page with name pronunciations, and I think that's going to go throughout the book.
Oh no! What did I say? Did I say something
I
wrong?
think you're saying it because I for whatever reason in my head, his name is Darrow. Don't know why. That's just how I'm saying it. Darrow makes more sense, like arrow with a D in front of it. So I'll just let you know that we probably have a lot of names that I'm going to be like, that's not how I thought of it. But okay.
Well, and I audiobooked some of this too, so I'm going off of
what they've said.
Okay. How is it in the audiobook?
Darrow.
Darrow, like arrow.
Yes.
Okay.
Did anyone else think Darrow?
I also said Darrow.
Okay, so I'm not crazy.
I will say I said Darrow until Pierce Brown happened upon my algorithm recently. And it was like a very old video too. And he said, I want to say he said Darrow. And I was like, ooh, I was
See, I've
off.
now gone 3 books deep with saying Darrow.
So he's Darrow.
Yeah. So for me, this is the character.
I love it. I love it. I love it. That's too
Yep.
funny.
That was nothing. Sorry, Jordan. That was not a you thing. That is totally a me
no.
thing. But
Well,
I see it. It's going to happen a lot.
and there's so many other fun names in here that like that's bound to happen.
Yes.
But yes, who wants to share first their thoughts, their opinions? I mean, I know I'm gonna second Bree. I think I don't know if Emily agrees on this, but I'm pretty sure the three of us probably were like, "Hey, maybe you wanna dip a toe and see if this is one that interests you." So, Megan, please give us your thoughts.
Okay, so right off the bat, I feel like I, again, love to go in blind. Had no idea what this book was about. I knew it was sci-fi. I basically just knew any words or communication you three shared with me on what this book was is all I knew going in.
I think it's hard, listeners. Like,
Yes, yes. So I feel like I was and Brie, I'm reading your notes as I'm looking at this too, but I feel like I was hooked from the beginning because I'm just kind of like, first of all, took me a while to realize that they fully lived underground. Like I was just like, oh shit, like they are full on like fake lighting, fake ventilation, fake everything. And for some reason that took my mind a little bit to grasp until I think, I don't know, a certain portion of the book that we'll get to when they like take an elevator up out of there. And I'm like, oh, they were literally like worms of the earth for a long time. So I feel like that hooked me. I had so many moments where I was, I mean, as I'm already saying, like, oh shit, that like what? This is insane. I feel like one of the most like catching moments for me was the reveal that the planet had been inhabited for 700 years already at that point when they had just been fed time and time again like you're making room for humanity, you're the ones that's going to save everybody, and it had been that long since, you know, like generations since anyone had actually come to inhabit Mars. So that was turning point number one for me. I feel like after that point, I like flew through the book because I'm just like, I have to know. Like, I swear I finished this book in like 3 to 5 days with
Wow.
children around me reading a physical copy. I mean, that's commitment on my part.
That is my hat's off. My hat's off. Round of applause for Megan. Rounds of applause for Megan.
And then since as I've mentioned, I ordered everything all at the same time. I just couldn't stop myself. And I had to read book 2, and then I couldn't stop myself again. So then I had to keep going. So, yeah, this was a surprising world that I'm actually having a hard time not being in right now. Like waiting on book 4 to arrive at my doorstep it's a crappy little waiting game, but I just have to wait till like tomorrow. So,
you know, Megan, if you
come on,
had
Amazon.
if you
let's go.
I mean, there's always Kindles. There's always Libby.
I
You could be
know.
borrowing from the library, and then you don't have
It's
to.
something
I'm
about,
just
much
saying.
like the golds, it's something about ownership. I want to own these books.
There you go.
I
There you go.
I don't want to make them my slaves, but I do want to have them in under my rule, if you will.
There
So
you
I like
go.
having the physical copy.
Well,
Perfection.
Bree or Emily, do you want to share your thoughts on the book before we get into some of the plot?
Sure. Do
Sure.
you want to go?
Yeah, sure. So for me, I would say that this one took me a little bit to get into. The early pacing for me, I struggled with. There were some very emotional moments at the beginning that I know we're going to talk about that I would fly through, and then it would kind of slow down for me. I also, and I think I texted Megan a little bit about this, I was just so confused at first and trying to figure out what was going on.
There was a
And
lot
I-
happening. There was a
There
lot
was a
happening.
lot happening, and there's nothing wrong with any of that. That's very typical of like a lot of world building. But I think I was trying so hard to figure it out, and to fully understand what was going on when I probably just needed to embrace it and think, oh, I'll get to it. I'll figure it out later. So it took me a little bit, but once I got to, I would say probably the last third or so, I couldn't put it down. At that point, I was flying through it. I think I don't even know how long it took me. I just didn't put it down. I flew through that last part. This I'd heard all sorts of things. I've heard a lot of people compare it to the Hunger Games before, and it's not that I disagree with that because I don't, but I thought this was much more the Lord of the Flies in my opinion, but just on Mars. So on
Yeah.
Mars and a little bit more adult. I also definitely got some like Crescent City vibes in a totally different way with the Asteri, right? Is that what they're
Okay.
Okay.
Sure.
like sort of with in a very loose sense the government structure and the classism
Yes.
that so obviously
I
like
could
this
see
came
that.
out years before Crescent City, but I did just kind of think about that a little bit. But in general, I'm really excited about the rest. This very much said, not to make another comparison to another fantasy series, but very much was like Throne of Glass to me, and that book one feels like a major, major setup for everything to come.
Everything.
Absolutely. 100%.
Yep.
What would you like to add, Emily?
I mean, just the short of it, I loved it. It took me a minute to not to get into it, but to orient myself in the
Yes.
world, like to
Agreed.
just kind of figure out right which was what. I did not expect it to be as emotional or violent right off the bat.
Yeah, that's
didn't either.
fair.
Like a couple of scenes that stood out that have stuck with me, like through all of this, because this is spoiler friendly, so stop now if you haven't read it. Io, am I saying that right, Jordan?
Yes.
I know we'll talk about it, but like the fact that on Mars the gravity doesn't allow someone to actually be hung and you have to pull their legs and they let the family do it. The number of times that has crept back into my mind, which might be a really awful thing, but just like it sticks with you, right? So like that stuck with me. I got a little bit of Mad Max vibes when I was picturing them around and the hell diver like machinery that they're working with, and it's dirty and it's red, and I got Mad Max vibes at the beginning.
Yes.
That then morphed into Hunger Games for me, kind of Hunger Games Lord of the Flies. So Io stood with me. The other part that just like got me was the carving, especially when there's this line, and I'm gonna butcher it, where he goes basically like, you took the hair my father gave me and the eyes my mother gave me, you won't take my name. Like that just like, whew, hits you, right? You know, moments like that. I think we'll get into all the violence at the Institute, but the entry action murder that everyone has to do to like get even into the opening like salvo.
That was bananas.
I didn't expect all of that like emotion and violence that came across with like Pierce Brown's style was unflinching. And it like nothing is left to the imagination.
No.
It is like eyes wide open, unflinching. This is what happened.
I just to that point though, I low-key hate him for like even introducing us to some of those characters who did not make it past that point, because I'm like, come on, man, like that is my heart you just threw on the ground and we're in like page 50. Like what else is gonna happen?
I have a feeling that is just the beginning of that for like the rest of the series.
Doubt it.
I'm going to remain very neutral, but
there you go.
Your hunches are correct.
That's where I said Crescent City 3 is what happens in the first 50 pages of Crescent City is the same like jaw-dropping, oh my gosh, how could you? I loved them, and then you kill them off vibe that happened in this book for me.
I think having this is so random, having read Crescent City before I read this, because that was one of the most jarring reading experiences I'd ever had where I felt, I think I said it when we talked, I felt so quickly invested in characters who, I guess, spoiler,
Yep.
Don't
were
make it.
Crescent City spoiler, were killed off so fast and I didn't see it coming. And so now I go into stories like this very untrustworthy and guarded from the get-go. I'm like,
Yeah.
You've been hurt, Bree.
But
You've been hurt.
all
and
that
it
said,
happened.
I totally agree that with this one I still was a little bit shocked at how quickly characters who I thought were going to be there for a while were
Right.
not.
I know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's what I hate is like it's set up like, oh, we're getting to know this character in the background and their family, and then 3 pages later, dead.
Gone.
Dead, like violent, like
Yeah.
brutal, like
Scalped, skinned, anything,
Like-
necks broken, whatever you can
Right.
think of, it happened.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
So on that note, question for you guys, and so I've heard people reference a lot that at least book one, I don't know about the others, it's often kind of lumped into the YA category. Would you agree or disagree with that?
I feel like I could agree with YA. Yes, it is violent. However, it is not sexual. I feel like to
That's
me
true.
that's kind of making a distinguishing factor. It's it's not there's a love story, throughout the novel, I think, obviously, like with I'm gonna say his name how I want to say it. Darrow's wife, Io, and stuff. Like, obviously, there's romance, there's love for like his people, but there's nothing overtly sexual in this book. So I think if you can stomach some pretty gruesome violence, I could see it being okay in a YA category. I don't know. I guess for me, that distinguishes the sexual nature of the book.
I'm with you. To me, yeah, if it's more, if it's higher on the spice factor, if there's more of the lust and the open door, if there's like, you have to also consider the age of the main characters as well, and that makes it YA to me personally. Because yeah, I think, listener, our main character Darrow, like, he's 16 when we
16, yeah.
start.
Which is crazy.
Insane.
So crazy. And married at 16 to this beloved Io, right? And I mean, generations ago, that was a thing that was happening, sure, but certainly much less so now. Like, so those are like bringing it back to the whole YA factor, those are kind of the two things for me as far as the consideration of it is, yeah, is there a lot of sex? Is there open door? That probably needs to be considered more adult than also consider the ages of the characters themselves. So
I didn't agree, kind of. I would say that the violence in here is probably no more violent than what is in some video games today.
That's fair.
That like young adult, right? So depending on the video games that the young adult in question might be playing, like it probably is on par with those. I think the rest of the series, and full disclaimer, I have read book 2. I have not read book 3. I think the rest of the series gets more adult as it goes forward. And some of those other themes, like we're talking about, come up more frequently, at least that I've read so far.
Right.
So I would find it hard to classify book 1 as YA and then say, oop, you got to stop till you're able to read an adult. But like, I think I would look at it as the whole series. So this one is more YA. I think the whole series collectively is probably not.
And I think too, like, Brie, you and I have talked before, is like, what age range is YA? Like,
That's
do I
my
want a 12-year-old reading this book? Probably not.
Nah.
But like, I would say maybe the character's age and up, that could feel more appropriate. What killed me though, sorry, going back to like him being 16, were all the jabs at like, oh, this person's so old, they're like 26 years old. And I'm like, oh my God, because no one like lived very long either. And I'm like, like when he was calling his uncle like an old man and he was like 30. I'm like, Jesus, dude.
Yeah. No. And I think any of the characters like over 40, it's almost like they talk about like putting them out to pasture kind of a situation, honestly. So I would agree with that. I do want to get into some of the plot. Definitely gonna take us for a left turn here a little bit as I share some of my thoughts going in. So, listener, if you listened to our most recent reading recap, then you know Bree might have called me out for giving a certain book 3 stars, and I did also only give this book 3 stars. So, believe it or not, 3
This
stars
is why I
doesn't
don't believe in a star rating system. This is why
3
it's so
stars
stupid and I
doesn't
won't do
mean
it.
that you don't like it. Listen, 3 stars doesn't mean that you don't like it. 3 stars doesn't mean that it wasn't good. Here's the kind of topics and the thoughts that y'all have brought up that I will say I agree with. It was a lot of world building. It was confusing to get into at the top. Overall, I thought that the writing was fantastic. I loved a lot of the twists and turns that we're going to get into. Emily touched on something when she referenced kind of a connection of like a Mad Max vibe. That's where you lose this reader. I'm not about it. Don't care as much for it. And also the Lord of the Flies kind of aspect of it, right? Like here you've got all of these characters, and let's just kind of go into it talking about it this way too. You have all of these characters with this idea of community, let's band together, let's do this, let's do that, but all of a sudden, nope, can't trust one another. So we're just gonna have to turn on each other, if that makes sense. And that part of it was also very frustrating for me, I suppose. So there's my justification and my reason for 3 stars. Doesn't mean I didn't like it. I loved the Hunger Games feel of it. Do I think that Darrow is like an excellent MMC male main character? 100%. I think he's actually like, I think reading this series and kind of witnessing the evolution of him is going to be really cool and is going to be really fun. But yeah, those were some of my thoughts. So anyway, let me see, where am I? Okay, so we talked a little bit about EO. I don't know if we want to go down that rabbit hole. Fun fact. So, listener, in the book, there's a song, right? Totally, completely like off limits. The slaves are not supposed to sing, what have you, whatever. If you listen to the audiobook, the narrator sings the song.
Oh,
Wait,
and
I
I was wondering what the tune would be.
Yeah.
I'd have to go back and like play it for you. It's very cool.
Sing it
and
for
it's
us,
very
Jordan.
fun.
Just sing it for us.
You know,
Just belt it out.
I'll make it up on my own as I go. No, but I did really love that, and I thought that was a nice touch. So yes, listener, ultimately that's, if I'm remembering correctly, and also I should also say this at the top because this is me shooting myself in the foot. Listener, I did finish this book like 2-3 weeks ago, I think. So
I think we all did.
Yeah,
so
it's been a minute.
purely going off of like just
Memory.
the notes I have in front of me and my Swiss cheese memory, this could be a little rough. But so EO sings the song, right? Something happens. I can't remember exactly what it was. She gets frustrated. Oh, right. Because as a hell diver, Darrow was supposed to, or he was doing something to earn what was it exactly that
They
he
had
was
they have
doing?
different like units, right? And
Yes,
each
yes, yes,
little
yes.
unit has a hell diver. It's like a command team, right? You have different positions like within the group.
There you go.
And one team always wins the bounty, which means they get the
Yes.
ration of like sugar and fruits and vegetables. And then all the other units and their families by extension have to, I'm going to use the word grovel or like barter and beg. And
Exactly.
sometimes the exchanges are, I'm going to say unsavory, where some of the women of the other teams are like using their bodies to like get the supplies that their families need. So there's a lot of tension.
Yep.
And everyone had been doing the calculation of the points for, I think it's on a month, right? A month or a quarter basis.
Something
Yeah.
like that.
Darrow and everybody doing the mental like points calculation knew that Darrow's team
Was supposed to win.
won, like had
Yeah.
legitimately won.
Yep.
But when the announcement was made, it was yet again the same,
The gold.
like not the gold,
Well,
like the
no.
same red, like the same
Another
small-
red
Yes. Thank you.
clan,
Okay.
clan, if
Clan.
you will, because
Yeah.
they're all like Greek letters. So it was the gammas, and then they're the lambdas,
Yes.
and
Okay.
blah blah
Thank
blah.
you. Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
And so he like lashes out and EO, I think, goes after him, but they both end up getting punished for it, right? And so they both end up getting whipped as like a show of, I don't know what, gold superiority and control and put you in your place. And this was the part that like broke my heart is EO, he gets punished and whipped first. And then he's like taken off the platform. And then she's taken up and takes her punishment. Then like she talks to her sister quietly on the platform.
Yes. Yes.
Sister
Yes. Yes.
sobs and walks away. And then she like locks eyes with Darrow and starts singing the song.
Yes. There you go. There
Like
you go.
intentionally, that whole part just like broke me.
I think
Yeah.
it's important to note, you guys are crushing it. I think it's important to note the whole reason they're getting in trouble is that Io showed Darrow
Yeah, they
this,
snuck off.
this secret garden that kind of
Yes.
was eye-opening to Darrow to prove to him that there's more in this world than the red clay and like the cave dwellings that they all live in and are surrounded by. So like this was his first time like touching grass, seeing trees, doing
There
all
you
of
go.
these things. And that's where her like infamous line, because it'll be throughout the rest of the book, is break the chains and live for more. So this is where her moment of showing him like there is more to this life, live for more than just what we have around us. And
It's
he didn't like that. He didn't like that.
He
No.
didn't like that.
No.
And I'm probably reading into it. I've only read book one, but to me, there seemed to be something very intentional in the way, in her dialogue in that scene, and then also how everything played out with their punishment. Like,
Right.
and I don't know if that was intentional. We're going to find out later in the series and it's going to come back, or if it truly was just that if it was just a catalyst moment for his journey with all of that, but it just seemed so intentional in that, like, she knew more, even though.
And you know, having read ahead, I still don't quite understand how she seems more enlightened than like any other member of their community. Like I still don't understand how, like, sure, maybe she like stumbled upon this garden and then like started putting pieces together, but even like, again, having read ahead, like there's no direct point where it's like, oh yeah, and then like we had all of these people and this is how they infiltrated other communities and were like spreading the word. Like there wasn't really any of that. So I'm not sure at 16 how she just seemed to have this larger world view than anyone else.
I mean,
I don't think she has a larger world view. I think she just knows what she wants. Because there was a part in there where they talk about that, and this is the age thing, right? Is most girls, young women, in all the clans are married off at 14. And for the boys, it's not until they're 16. And she knew that she wanted Darrow. And so she like stayed, I don't know, I want to say hidden, but she like refused, like she bucked tradition for 2 years waiting for him because they're the same age, which is like a really odd and unique relationship. Is that I think she just knew what she wanted from a young age, because like to stick to your guns against the rest of your entire community doing something different. I'll stop there because I think there's more to that and I don't want to spoil it. But I think she knew what she wanted. Yeah. And she didn't have a broader world view, but she knew what she didn't want. And that's, I think, maybe where she got her.
Well, and Pierce Brown, from my opinion, seems like he wrote very intentionally throughout this entire story. Like, I mean, listeners, she's killed off so quickly. Like, that was always going to be her path. That was always going to be her trajectory. I don't think that there's an alternate, concept or idea that the writer had in his brain that, like, no, this was this character's purpose. This was the catalyst for Darrow in a lot of ways too, right? Because then we transition into him infiltrating, basically going undercover as a gold, if you will. And that kind of leads us into now the Institute, the carving. We're going to get into all of that as well. And as I'm kind of talking it through out loud with all of you too, that's probably the other struggle that I wrestled with, was this idea of life on an alternative planet, and like just picturing that, like putting myself into that space, right? I think, Megan, you said, I'm having a hard time not being in this world and not, like I just gotta know what and somehow for me, some of these concepts are just harder to grasp than others, if you will. Let's talk about that transformation process though, because I mean, that it's pretty intense, to be honest. So, listener, I mean, to me, the best I can like compare it or equate it to, I mean, we're going beyond plastic surgery. This is like reconstructive, like all kinds of, like, I don't know if anybody else was
I honestly pictured, this is gonna, like, this mashup. I pictured Deadpool. You guys watch that movie?
Yeah. There you go.
Right. And when he goes through, it's a bit of a different process that they went through here, but he was in like, the full body tube, and he's hooked up to all the injections and the monitors and everything. And he like has to be slowly or moderately injected to become Deadpool with the chemical. And I think Darrow kind of goes through a similar thing, right? Where they basically start head to toe, because golds not only are taller, faster, stronger, different complexion. Like humanity has evolved to where reds and golds, you almost could say, are two different races, even though they're both human. Right. Just from like a build standpoint.
Mm-hmm. And it does even go into, I'm pretty sure in the first book, it might gloss over it a little bit, but like you cannot cross-contaminate. Like even reproductive systems belong to those classes.
Right. So like they're not even compatible, even if you were to have a funny, like it doesn't cross over. So he literally goes tip to tail, if you will.
If you will.
There you go.
I think like the fact that they had to replace his eyeballs, that's what got me.
That was
and like rewire his brain.
Rewire his brain, because all golds have, they mentioned something like a chip. Like there's like they know you're a gold just by scanning your brain. So, and there were others that tried to go through this carving that did not make it. I mean, obvious, you're basically redesigning a human. But I pictured Deadpool and like all the machines.
No, that's a pretty strong comparison. I like that. I thought Dancer, because Dancer was the one that did the carving, wasn't he? If I remember correctly. Oh no, what was the name of the one that did?
Mickey.
Mickey. That's right. I was getting Mickey and Dancer mixed up. I thought
Dancer's the one who tapped Darrow ultimately. And was like, yo, we've got a mission for you, brother. Meet us up here. See you
Let's
there.
roll. Yeah.
Yes. And then
Yeah.
Mickey's the one who did
Does the carving. Yes.
the whole surgery. Yes.
Okay, I
There
do
you
have to
go.
ask a quick question. What did we all think about the carver? Like in his little harem and his little like, and that carving is a black market. Like, what were your thoughts on that?
I mean, that was intriguing for sure. I thought that was, I mean,
I just picture like red light district doctor. Like that's what came into my head.
we talked about the Lord of the Flies vibe. Do we want to talk? Megan, Emily, somebody else is probably going to explain this much better than I will. Explain how the houses work. So we kind of go through this carving process, right? And then there's the different houses that are sort of divided, kind of like Megan was talking about underground too. I sort of was how I thought about it, like the clans, just the different kind of pods of people. Almost,
so to
if
me,
you will.
this is where it's like Harry Potter moment, but like NFL draft.
Yes.
There you go. I like it. I like it.
Yep. Yep.
So the house
Brown watches this episode someday and is
Yeah.
like, you know what?
yeah, the mashups that make up this book, I feel it makes sense. It makes sense if you've read it.
Yeah.
So I don't remember all the house. I think, they're a reflection of gods, correct? The Greek gods.
Yes.
So every house has proctors, and these proctors are your like face-to-face interaction, but these proctors are then owned or operated by, I'm assuming, like alumni, people who like are very well connected, people who have a lot of money and want to see their house do well, because this is ultimately just battle school medieval times. I don't
Also,
know
there you go.
why,
Eternity.
There you go.
but so then,
And then you have the descendants as well from the houses.
And everybody, I'll throw out there that every institute hopeful takes a big exam, because that was a big part of Darrow, like had to study and get into it, and he passed like flying colors. And so based off of that exam and their application, that's where the NFL draft that Megan's talking about comes into play with the proctors, right? Is how did they do on the exam? What's their family like
Their lineage.
Right? And then what's their application look like? Because each of the houses sort of has traits that align with the god that they're named after. So like House Mars is war. So those that are more like, I don't know, vengeful or, like lend itself, then the proctors want to recruit those to their house.
yes.
Yep. Well, and almost kind of taking it a step further, following like the whole NFL draft sort of concept though too, because the goal from all of this as well, listener, right, is like proctorships, apprenticeships, like being able to kind of establish yourself, because once you make it, you make it through so many steps, and then it's like, okay, this is the path that you're kind of going and carving for yourself, almost, if you
But I
will.
will say, where we depart heavily from an NFL draft is with the passage.
Correct. Yes.
That
And
was a
also
good
probably
segue.
like the ultimate ending of like being a peerless scarred,
Yes.
which is
There we
just
go.
like battle royale all the time. Never seen a football player become then a warrior, but maybe.
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 The passage, which, I don't know, Megan or Jim in, but where this blew my mind is when they talk about like, they basically kidnap you in the middle of the night, put you in a cell with no weapons, no clothes. You're
Naked,
just in there naked with another student or hopeful or whatever you want to call them. And only one of you is allowed to leave alive.
It's literally night one. Like
Night
you
one.
get a big meal on campus, you get to say hi to all your friends, and then only one of you is going to live.
And
through the night.
listener, this is how we go from 100 to 50, if I'm not mistaken, because they picked the 100 strongest exam scorers, right? And then from there, that
50.
was 100 to 50.
Mhm.
Yes.
So one of the big points I'll throw out, and Jordan, stop me if
No, you're doing great.
is at that dinner, because this is key, Darrow makes friends with Cassius and his brother
That's how I said it. Okay.
Julian.
Julian. I was going to say Jasper.
It is,
Julian.
yeah. It is Julian.
Julian. Cassius and Julian, who are brothers in this institute, and they're having like witty banter, and Cassius is driving his brother, and like this is all lovely and grand. And I pictured this is the Harry Potter part, the long table, and they're like eating together and having a grand old time, right? Yes. And then we find that Darrow has been put in the cell with Julian. And that, like, I don't know about you, when I read that, my stomach dropped.
Oh, 100%.
Like, what do you do? Like, and there was a whole emotional scene that tears and like, but Darrow eventually, you go back to, you know, if you compare Darrow and what he's lived in his life compared to all the other 99 applicants in the Institute, and while they're gold in all of this, Darrow at 16 has been married, had a job, been part of a community, seen his father executed, seen his wife like intentionally death by police, basically, right?
Yeah.
Like his life view, I think, came into complete focus and his goal in that cell with Julian.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
And that's why he walked out.
Well, and it was from that point, in my opinion, that we kind of transition a little bit into the whole Hunger Games sort of vibe, right? Because then you've got the 50 and they're all just supposed to essentially fend for themselves, kind of like they're all kind of off, like doing their thing, but they're trying to like be the biggest, be the brightest, be the last one standing in this makeshift war, if you will, right? Because this is like my understanding of it was that it was like a mock war. Like, all right, if you were really out there, what are you gonna do? Kind of a thing.
It's interesting though, because so it's a mock war, but you really die.
Yes.
Yes. You really are like in medieval castles.
Yes.
You really
are killing your food.
You're killing your food. You really are forming allies or slaves or whatever that setup needs to be. And then you have to be favored by your proctor and those supporting him or her to ultimately win, because they're the ones that are going to gift you the right tools, the right weapons, the right whatever.
Give you the advantages, pretty much.
And that's, I think, where the Hunger Games piece comes in, because that's where like the sponsors from the that's the parallel, right? Is it's like the sponsorship from the Hunger Games.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So mock war, but like you really die.
Megan said mock war, but is it actually, or is it just war?
You can get sick. You can die. You can get injured. You like all of it.
You can starve to death. You can fall off a cliff.
Yeah.
You can do all these things.
There are some moments, I know we've already talked about trigger warnings here. There are some moments of, because I think everybody starts to show their true colors after a few weeks, especially those that have food and don't have food and have to figure out how to get food, of like rape and like things that have happened that are awful. And it's like a microcosm of the worst that can happen and how people react in that situation.
I wrote that down as one of my notes. I said like just the cruelty happening all around, but especially to the women in this situation. Like it's just absolutely despicable. Like it's really, really hard.
Which is your guys' books, because I talked to Brie, my front like 2 pages is a map of the layout of the Institute grounds and like where everyone's house is. Okay.
Yep.
Just wanted to make sure we all got that, because that was very helpful for me to like refer back to as they're like, okay, and then we're going to send scouts like way over here. And I was like, well, where is that? So then
then you kind of had to like refer back to it to know where you were. Yes. Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yes. So thank you, Pierce. Always appreciate a good map. Love those. That's great.
Well, let's kind of segue with that into a little bit of what happens out there on the field, if you will, by kind of talking about some of the relationships, right? So the whole passage thing happens, Darrow kills Julian, and then Cassius and Darrow, right, kind of go on this hate-filled.
Well, but I think Darrow doesn't tell Cassius.
No one knows.
Right.
This is where we see the calculated nature of Darrow to like accomplish his ultimate end goal. And it comes out later when one of the sponsors wants like it to be seen that
that it
like
was
what happened and wants
Darrow
to
that
break up.
killed
Because
Julian.
Cassius and Darrow,
Yes.
honestly, I think if they had stayed tight the whole trilogy, they would have been unstoppable.
Oh, yeah.
And
Probably.
like absolutely unstoppable. And
That's what everybody else noticed too.
yep. And so they went pull them apart.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I guess my point with that too, though, was even before he found out that it was Darrow that killed Julian, though, like it was all designed and created for there to be this tension, this friction, right? Like agreeing, disagreeing on certain moves to make or what to do in certain instances, whether that was let's take out this house, let's make them our slaves, let's give them food, let's take this, go this direct. Like you kind of get a lot of that in. I felt like that was a bulk of the book too. So to Megan's point, yes, listener map can help because you're like, where are we and what's happening and what's going on?
That's interesting because I don't know that my interpretation of their relationship prior to Cassius finding about Julian was so tense. I saw them more as like I saw tension more in the fact that they are two men who probably view each other as equals and competitive, but yet there seemed to be some sort of friendship between the two of them that like I felt like if Cassius hadn't found out about Julian, which to me was always going to happen, there was no way that was not going to come to light. I felt like Cassius would have eventually kind of stepped aside for Darrow. I didn't see it as such a contentious relationship, even though there was definitely some give and take in terms of, well, I like this idea, I like that. That was my interpretation. I didn't read it like that.
I'm with you, Bree.
Oh,
go ahead. Oh,
no,
I was just saying, I'm with you. That what I thought was going to be their like ultimate battle was who was going to lead Mars, like the House Mars.
And that
I thought that was
what
gonna
I
be
was
their
talking about too, because there's followers that say no, we want Cassius. There's others that say no, we want Darrow, and they
Right.
may not have been outwardly bickering or outwardly arguing or having this but it was always kind of this. At least from my opinion, while it was a friendship, there was also a level of it that was a dick measuring contest in some ways, though, too, of
Sure.
like, okay, who's gonna achieve this? Who's gonna go for that kind of thing? And they had common enemies too. We can talk about that for a second as well. I'm trying to remember about like Pax, for example, or Severo is another one that comes to my mind, right? Like they did also have like those common enemies. Yeah, go ahead.
I do have a question on Severo because we'll get into him and his howlers. I don't know if we're gonna have time on this episode, but we will talk about him. Okay, if the howlers recruited you, what would your unhinged nickname be?
Oh, good one. Because they all have crazy nicknames.
What would your nickname be as a howler?
That's so hard. My unhinged
Like a
nickname.
baby
I feel like
kid.
I'd want it to be like strong. Like I feel like I'd want to maybe give off a vibe that I'm like if someone heard my name like so Darrow ultimately becomes the Reaper. Like I want like a name like that and then when they meet me they'll be like, "Oh shit. She's only 5 foot tall. Like, I don't need to be scared of her.
Well, that's like, you're talking about like when somebody has like that nickname Big John, right?
Yeah,
Or
they're
like Big Mike, and they're like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
oh, that's
But
not.
something scarier than Big
Yeah.
Megan.
They're like one word, like
Yeah.
pebble, mouse, like they're just
Clown,
like
thistle.
clown.
Yes.
Like, yeah. I'll tell you mine. I think mine would be Phoenix.
Ooh.
Simply
Yes.
because
There you go.
that'd be
There you
mine.
go. Oh, shoot. I don't
I'm trying
know.
to think of like significant things in my life I can name myself after.
You're how you're wearing a wolf skin.
Yes.
You've really thrown us with this one.
And this isn't even the chaos question. I'm
is not
feeling
the
very
chaos question.
flustered.
Oh my gosh.
This is like a baby chaos question. I didn't even use the
A baby chaos question.
Yeah. We can come back to it if you need some time to
Let me think.
like
Let me
You
think.
know what?
noodle
Go back
this
to that.
out. But by the
Okay.
end of the episode, I want to hear what your unhinged howler nickname would be.
Okay.
Oh my goodness. Okay.
I if now's the moment, I do have the big chaos question.
Okay, yeah.
Might
So
as
you're
well.
already on it.
Let me. I'm sorry, I had to do it.
Yes.
Our new chaos question button. We'll get better at this as the year goes on. Okay.
Do it.
But here's the overarching question I have, because we see this play out on several levels, not only in the society as a whole, but in the Institute. So in your opinion, what is more dangerous, blind obedience or unchecked ambition?
Holy shit. That's this whole book. That's this whole series.
That's society today.
That's right now.
The parallels to our current situation are
Unreal. Unreal.
We're talking about Red Rising. We're just gonna keep this in the box of like
It's
the
fine.
Red Rising Society and
So you
also
said- Oh, go ahead.
so blind obedience or unchecked ambition. And I think we see this on two levels in the book.
Right.
Right? Because we see blind obedience with the Reds, where Darrow starts out, right? And, the goals, you could say, would be the unchecked ambition. We see it play out in the Institute when we talk about a lot of characters. You see their true colors come through, right? They make choices on if they're alpha, beta, follower, leader, like however that's going to all play out. And both cause casualties and atrocities from blind obedience and unchecked ambition. I'm curious, which one do you think is worse in the context of this story?
I struggle because unchecked ambition, right? I feel like, or at least what I think we're talking about as well within the context of this book and what happens and different things like that, right? Darrow just kind of reaches a point where like consequences be damned, rules don't apply kind of thing, right? And when there's unchecked ambition, it's this whole nothing can stand in your way, right? And you're going to do anything in order to achieve whatever that outcome or that goal is that you want. So there's like the downside of that. The blind obedience to me, I guess, and I don't know that this is really answering your question. I look at it because I feel like I've experienced blind obedience. I feel like I have come from a plethora of past experiences where I've been blindly obedient, right? Without being curious, without asking the questions, without seeking understanding. And there's definitely danger to be found there as well. Because when you're blindly obedient, then somebody with unchecked ambition can go and do just about whatever it is that they want. Right? So if you're blindly obedient, you're giving somebody that power, that control. And so that is, to me, I don't know that I can say one is worse than the other. I just think they're both bad.
There, in the context of Red Rising, I'm putting this in the box, in the sphere.
Unchecked ambition,
Just
probably.
in the box.
I don't know.
In the box.
I'll let somebody else speak. Should have been drinking something else other than water for this
I thought
conversation.
this calls for something stronger.
I'm gonna say blind obedience is worse. I just feel like in the box, in the sphere of this world, of that world, excuse me,
This
that
box.
world, planet Mars, that we are not part of. I just feel like blind obedience is worse because then, I mean, to me, that's the lack of ambition. That's the lack of drive. That's the lack of being able to think outside of your own cave, your own community, your own mine, your own clan in this book. And while I understand that they obviously have like a hierarchy within their own communities and everything like that, like to just follow blindly and hope that everything turns out, I think is the most deprived way to live your life. That life, their life.
Darrow's
No, that's
Darrow's life.
Let's go back to
good.
this box. Yeah.
What do you think, Bree? Do you want to add?
Yeah.
What a conundrum. I don't think
Oh, I have also thought of my howler name too.
I've thought of mine too.
Okay, then there we go.
I don't. So first, I don't. I think I sort of agree with the both of you. Like, I think it's very hard to pick. In the context of Red Rising, I would say I would lean toward blind obedience probably being worse because I think that is what contributes to unchecked ambition is when you're blindly obedient. Like Jordan, I think you were kind of saying that too. So to me, that's the worst one because if the majority are blindly obedient, then you're going to have unchecked ambition and you're going to have the fallout of that unchecked ambition. I'll stop there. And
Well, no, and that's keeping it inside the box, like Emily is talking about, though, too, right? You do see Darrow wrestle with that a lot in this book because as there are these different revelations and these different things that have been it's like the wool has been pulled over my eyes, and are you kidding me? Like, I've been doing this, I've been doing that from the sweat of my back, right? From the blood in my veins. I've been doing all of this, and you see him go through it a couple of times where it's like, and for what? For what?
I think it's a really neat depiction through Darrow, but I would also say, and this isn't to take it outside of our box, like, I think that's part of the reason we read is to see alternate versions of our reality and all of that. So yeah, I think it's his character development in this book alone and what he wrestles with was very fascinating, and I think will just continue to be so with all of that. Okay, names. Megan, go.
I'm gonna choose Gargoyle. I feel like that's scary. It's kind of flighty. It makes me seem big. It's like you never know where I'm gonna be. I could be in a tree. I could be on the ground. I could be on a perch. I'm gonna go Gargoyle.
Gargoyle. Okay.
I'm a big fan. Okay, I don't like mine as much now that I've heard yours, so I should have gone first. I settled on Shepherd.
Ooh, go Bree. Leader. You're a leader.
Yeah.
I didn't really think of it that way necessarily, but more so like helping to guide the flock a little bit
Leadership
through darkness and being. But I'm one with the flock to help everybody. No sheep left behind.
See, I like yours better than mine. Mine was all just self-serving. You are more communal.
No sheep.
Mine was equally
howler left behind. Everybody.
See, everybody. That's what makes a good team, Megan. Mine was equally self-serving. I mean, I grew up in Phoenix, so that was easy. And Phoenix is rise from the ashes. So no matter what challenge comes ahead, I will rise from the ashes.
I mean,
There you
and
go.
I know we talk about this all the time, but like gargoyle, so I think that that's perfect. I loved it, but Bartholomew from The Knight and the Moth like holds such a special place in my
Yes.
heart now. So
Yes.
I'm like, yes, gargoyle, 100%, do
There
it.
you go.
There you go. There you
Jordan,
go.
how are we feeling on the howler name? And then I'll tell you my thoughts on the chaos question.
I had to cheat to get an idea, but I think I'm gonna go with Lark.
Lark.
Mm.
Okay. There we go. I like it.
I like it.
What
The
brought on
the
Lark?
Yes, any
Well,
reason?
I was thinking about Hunger Games. I was thinking of the Battle of Songbird and Snakes. I was thinking about like just larks and what they do, right? They're small but mighty.
Sure.
Yeah.
They
Yeah.
sing,
Yeah.
they can send messages, they
Yeah.
can like they oversee kind of a thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know. I'd have to do
I
an even
think
deeper dive, but
I think we'd be a pretty menacing band of howlers. Shepherd, Gargoyle, Lark, and Phoenix. Watch out.
album to be coming soon.
Here we
I was
come.
gonna say let's actually ask Chat GPT to like make us into these characters. Can
I
you
love
share
it.
social media posts?
Miracle.
I will do this.
Love
as
it.
soon as out.
I love it. I love it. Oh my
Um,
gosh.
All right, I'll
And
just
I
close out.
probably got that idea too because of like the listening to it on audio and hearing the like
Hearing it.
hearing Eos
Yeah.
sing. And then later in the book too, we'll get to Mustang. We'll
Yes.
talk about her for a minute and Darrow singing to Mustang
Yes.
as well. So Emily, go ahead. Sorry.
I'll just give you my quick, because I do agree with what you guys are saying on blind obedience or unchecked ambition. I think blind obedience begets unchecked ambition, like we've been talking
Yes.
about. So I would have to vote, if I had to pick one, they're both awful, but blind obedience would get my vote for the worst. Because I think it does, Jordan, you said it very well, it gives someone else the potential to take that power and control the narrative. And, you know, I think one of the anecdotes to that, which we see in this book, is curiosity. And we see Darrow like wrestle with that internally when he's going, okay, they're doing this, but what if this and why that? Like we see that internal dialogue of his curiosity coming through, which is, in my opinion, one of the big reasons that he is surviving as far as he is, because he's willing to take a step back from both his own unchecked ambition, because it's there, and his own former blind obedience, and bring curiosity to the table. And that has been really interesting for me as a reader to kind of see like his own ability to keep that, call it curiosity or humanity, piece in there, and how it plays out to ultimately his surviving as long as he is.
Yeah. No, that was well said too. I would agree. I would
Agree.
definitely agree.
I think ultimately I just wouldn't want someone else running my life. I want to make my own decision.
Well,
I'd
and
rather be
that's a lot
ambitious.
and that's a lot of the motivation, not just of Darrow, but of the Reds in general.
Right.
Right.
That's
So-
the rising. That's the uprising right there.
You know?
Right there.
Okay, so do we talk about Mustang? Because I will say Mustang intrigued me from the jump. I liked her a lot. So we come across her, right? If I'm not mistaken, she was the one that laughs at him pretty early on when he like falls off a horse, wasn't he? Right? She was
He was
the one
learning to like as he's learning to still be a gold. This is like pre-institute.
Yes.
He doesn't know how to ride a horse. Yeah.
And then come to find out, right, as the two of them kind of make this connection and whatnot. I don't know. I liked it. I was happy with it. There were a couple touch and go moments there we can talk about where wasn't sure whether or not she was going to survive, to be completely honest. And then I was like, I mean, yeah, we had Eo's death and whatnot. I don't know if I want to see Darrow go through this again. Like,
Yeah.
that was rough. What were your thoughts on Mustang before we kind of get into like, because
So
obviously, spoiler,
I
you know,
I really appreciated Mustang. I think I'll have more thoughts on her in later episodes that we will record. But for book one, I think, Jordan, you said it earlier, where we see a lot of some of the female characters being more victims in the Institute in this.
Yes.
And what I really appreciated about Mustang is she is anything but a victim. And even at the point where her house is like her house at the Institute, that is like almost on the verge of like collapse. Like she's the only member left.
From the
She
House of
manages-
Minerva, I
Yep,
wrote down.
he manages to hide away in the woods and saves Darrow and just bides her time. And I think that shows like her intelligence, her survival instinct. Like I so appreciated that, you know, not against any other female characters in this book, but she definitely showed her intelligence to survive.
Yep.
And also be a leader while surviving in a situation where female characters were maybe more brutalized in some respects.
Yep. Yeah.
Yeah. I think it says a lot about her that right off the bat she was named like the leader of her house, you know, whereas we saw Titus, Cassius, and Darrow kind of fight for who was going to lead Mars. Like she was the leader. Like that was point blank. That was going to be her role. So I feel like that alone says a lot about the way that she connects with people and how she's able to draw that attention in a positive way so that people know, you know, she's not just pretty, but she's smart, she's athletic, she has a good, like, in this case, sense of war. She knows what she's doing.
Yep. Yep. Well, and I love how she kind of comes out of left field from that way, right? Because I wrote down one of the big battles that we have, right? Or like the big house battles is Bologna and Augustus. And remind me, Cassius is Augustus, right? And then who was the
Bologna.
Or was he Bologna? And then who was Augustus? I'm trying to remember who.
Mustang, and then I guess plot twist, the jackal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who is
So
her
we'll get to the jack. Honestly,
Didn't see that coming.
No, me. That was like
That didn't see that coming.
And then at the end, when I was like, oh my gosh, she's going to go to him. And I thought that was going to be the end of it. And it Yes.
I know. Okay, well, go ahead and recap because I don't know if the listeners heard you clearly about all that just happened.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. Which part? So Mustang saves Darrow. I think we were alluding to that. Darrow gets betrayed by Cassius because the jackal character we haven't super talked about, his proctor sent him, or his sponsors, if you will, sent him the killing of Julian, to share with Cassius. And then Darrow knew this. I don't remember how he knew this, but he tried to send Severo to confiscate it from Cassius. I keep on calling him Cassius.
I think it's after Fitchner tells him. So
Darrow's proctor, Fitchner, is helping Darrow as much as he can.
Yes.
And he reveals that two proctors, Jupiter and
Apollo,
basically rigged the game.
Are in the pocket of basically the Jackal's family, which we learn at the end of the book is Mustang's family too.
The Augustuses.
The Augustuses. And so that they are in the pockets. And that is one part where I was like cheersing when I was reading when Darrow goes, well, then I guess we're taking Olympus. I'm paraphrasing like a whole thought process.
Yeah.
He basically realizes the Institute is rigged. And the only way that he's going to get noticed and what he wants out of it is if he does something big. And that big is storming the House of the Proctors that is like floating above
Mount Olympus.
Olympus, like above Hercules. So
Yes.
We've got Harry Potter, Hercules, Mad Max, Hunger
I'm going
Games.
to throw another one out there.
NFL
Did
draft.
anybody else get Romeo and Juliet vibes? Because I literally was like, we got a Montague Capulet situation happening here.
I didn't.
I didn't.
Come on.
But yes.
I didn't this book, but I could see that in future. I could see that in future.
I could see that Maybe in our next episode.
There you go. Oh my goodness. So yes, we find out, listener, the jackal, who it was essentially favored to win this whole thing, right? Is
Favored. He was set up to win the whole thing.
yes, set up to win the whole
After
thing.
he did some horrible shit.
I was like, after he ate people.
He ate people.
There we go.
They barricaded
There
themselves
it
in
is.
tunnels and then fucking ate each other.
So that they would
That's
survive.
how insane this guy is.
And that's how he got the name Jackal. And he is, if you want to talk about an unreliable, unhinged, not trustworthy character,
Constantly scheming.
constantly scheming, plots and plots and plots and plots, and he's playing chess when everyone else is playing checkers.
There
That's
you
the
go.
Jackal.
Even when I thought that like Darrow had him figured out, he would just swept right back through, and you're like, well, shit, he ate his arm off. Okay,
Yeah.
great.
Yep. There you go.
What was that line where, because I think he did like saw off his own hand or arm.
Yeah.
His line was like, I can get another hand, but you cannot mess with my mind, or something like my mind is more valuable than my hand.
I do something to that effect. I do feel like I
I'm
remember
just like,
that.
that's an unhinged.
That is. Let's talk about another plot twist, that Severo is Fitchner's son. That was another one that I was like, huh.
That was crazy.
Yep.
That was interesting. That was interesting.
Because like you can't, they never have had like he wasn't like, yo, what's up, dad? I'm in the institute. He was literally calling him like an asshole, a shithead, like spitting at his own father. Like you would have never known.
No, not at all.
I will say that I think Severo and the Howlers are my favorite.
Oh, by far.
Yes,
Like,
by
for
far.
sure.
by far. I think I'm going to stake my claim of the series. I think Severo and the Howlers are my favorite. Just
I would buy that
Bar none.
album.
I'm just so
that band.
scared to get attached to anybody.
no.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you.
I'm gonna
Yeah.
I know.
I'm hiding my mouth.
Megan's like, I can't say anything.
Like Pax. Oh, the
that was brutal.
Yeah, that was rough.
Max's death sucked.
Yes,
Yeah.
it did.
Yeah.
Yes, it did. And then going after Apollo after that, though, was pretty epic.
Yeah.
I'm not
His
gonna
whole,
lie.
like storming of Olympus was epic.
Yes.
I think it was also so calculated at the very end when Augustus, who is the father, as we've talked about, of Mustang and the Jackal, approaches Darrow to be his, what do they call it, protege, like join his,
Yes.
right?
Yes.
Go to the Academy is sponsored by Augustus, and he makes him kneel immediately in front of everybody. It was like, ooh, you're not confident in your power. Like that was that was an interesting scene, and it was so funny to like know that Augustus probably isn't super confident in his vibe because he made him do it like immediately, and Darrow was thinking, you are my worst enemy, but I'm going to be the snake in the grass, like in your house.
Were you
I
gonna say
did think
something,
it was
Megan?
interesting. So at the end, obviously, Darrow wins, if you will, the Institute. He is the winner of everything because he killed a lot of people. And but to find out that, so like what House Augustus did was like out of order, if you will. Like there was supposed to be another round of almost like bidding on people being able to then join those other houses in the real world and like be sponsored by
Yes.
them for the academy. So the
He
fact
just-
that like he cut in line, and I think that they're already a house that's not super favored because we find out that they are the like governor family of Mars as a whole as well. So they're like the reigning body of Mars, has this huge feud with House Bellona. Bellona.
Bologna. And Augustus, what is the arch governor, as you're saying,
Yes,
Megan, of Mars.
yes.
So he ordered and oversaw the execution of Io. So he basically, at the end of this book, before we dive into book 2, which is the next episode, he basically makes a deal with his own personal devil to like join his house and be his protege.
That gave me like goosebumps. Like so calculated on Darrow's
They're
part.
both, like, you can picture that scene where they're both like, I'm gonna get, like, I have the
Yes.
upper hand, and you're like, none of you do.
No.
No,
Yeah.
no.
No.
The Jackal does. We all know this.
Yes. Yeah, your insane son actually has
Actually
the
has
utmost
the
upper
Crazy
hand.
son.
Oh
Exactly.
my gosh.
So
I'm
with
with
that,
you though too, because when we find out that Mustang actually is the Jackal's sister and whatnot, like, listener, there is a moment where like you literally think everything has just like turned and that all of the sudden like she's gonna go against Darrow, like she had this whole plan herself this whole time. And at least end of book one, I'm grateful that that was not the case and that that
Yes.
was not
I'm relieved. I
how it
am
happened.
worried for book 2.
Marie said I'm relieved but worried.
I'm worried for book 2.
Oh my gosh.
So, with that said, next month, what are we talking about?
We are talking about book 2. We are talking about Golden Sun by Pierce Brown. So this is book 2 in the Red Rising series. We will keep reading on and do better to remember what happened.
No.
oh, wait, this is great. Lark,
Perfect.
Gargoyle, remind me one more time. A Shepherd,
Shepherd.
Phoenix. We're coming back for book 2.
Yes.
We got
I
Our
love
own
it.
band of howlers.
And in the meantime, if you have listened to this episode, hopefully you read Red Rising with us, either with us or already read it, already a fan. We do have like a small group chat going on Instagram, which is fun, where we
Yes.
send each other reels, mostly related to Red Rising, and chat a little bit about the book. So if you want to keep reading with us, or if you've already read it, we would love to add you. Just send us a message on Instagram and we'll be sure to add you to the chat.
Yes, please. I am looking forward to more discussion on this one. I think it is an interesting ride. For
sure.
All right, friends. Well, until next time. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers.